Japanese mechanics do not rely on luck, they rely on habits. Habits so precise, they have turned 300,000-mile engines into the norm, not the exception. While most American drivers rush oil changes, skip maintenance, and trust dealership upsells, Japanese mechanics treat every vehicle like a living system. They follow a philosophy built on respect, not repair, and the results are legendary. In today's video, I will reveal 10 secrets Japanese mechanics use every day to keep engines running smoother, longer, and cleaner than anything you have seen in a Western garage. You will see the simple maintenance rituals that make cars feel brand new decades later, and the mistakes American drivers keep making that quietly destroy engine life. If you want your car to run like a Japanese taxi, 400,000 miles on the same original engine, this is where it starts. These are the secrets most drivers ignore. But once you know them, you will never treat your car the same way again. Number 1. Cold start discipline and thermal management. Japanese mechanics understand something most drivers never think about. Nearly 80% of engine wear happens in the first few minutes after startup. That is why they obsess over a cold start routine. Instead of letting the engine idle for long periods or driving off aggressively, they follow a simple ritual. Start the engine, let oil circulate for 60 to 90 seconds so every bearing, cam lobe, and hydraulic lifter gets proper lubrication, then drive gently. The goal is not to warm the coolant, which heats quickly, but to warm the oil, which can lag far behind and stay thick long after the coolant needle reaches the middle. During this warm-up phase, they keep engine revolutions per minute low and avoid both heavy throttle and lugging in high gears. This prevents dry friction and stops raw fuel from washing down cold cylinder walls, which is a major cause of premature ring wear. Long idling is avoided because it leads to fuel dilution and carbon buildup. Once the car is fully warm, Japanese mechanics incorporate a weekly engine cleansing habit. Brief, controlled revs past 4,000 revolutions per minute to burn off carbon and stabilize ring seal. And for turbocharged cars, they always end each trip with a gentle 2 to 3 minute cooldown so oil keeps flowing through the turbo bearings, preventing oil coking. This warm-up, gentle drive, periodic high-speed maintenance, then cool-down routine is a big reason Japanese taxis and delivery cars routinely exceed 400,000 to 700,000 kilometers on original engines. It is simple and incredibly effective. One of Japan's biggest secrets to long engine life has nothing to do with mileage. It's based on time. Mechanics there track service intervals by months because fluids break down chemically even when a car is not driven. Oil oxidizes, coolant becomes acidic, brake fluid absorbs moisture, and transmission fluid loses friction modifiers. That is why Japanese shops follow strict hybrid schedules, oil every 5,000 kilometers or 6 months, whichever comes first. Short-trip drivers sometimes change even sooner because the engine never fully evaporates moisture and fuel contamination. Brake fluid is replaced every 2 years because moisture lowers boiling point and corrodes ABS valves from the inside. Coolant is replaced based on its exact formula. Toyota SLLC lasts 5 years at first fill, then around 3 years. Older green coolant lasts about 2 years. CVT and automatic transmission fluids are changed at 40,000 to 60,000 kilometers to protect solenoids and clutch packs. Differential and transfer case oils get replaced on similar cycles. AIR filters, both engine and cabin, are inspected at every oil change because Japan's cities produce fine dust that clogs filters quickly, throwing off fuel trims and stressing HVAC blowers. The calendar-first strategy prevents all the silent damage Western drivers often discover too late. Acidic coolant corroding water pumps, moisture-laden brake fluid destroying calipers, oxidized ATF glazing clutch packs, and fuel-diluted oil-wearing bearings. By incorporating climate and driving conditions, such as coastal, humid, or dusty, Japanese shops tailor service intervals even further. It is not fancy. It is not overkill. It just works. Number 3. Original equipment manufacturer, chemistry and precision assembly, not good enough. If you ask a Japanese master technician which fluid to use, you will not hear anything close enough. You will hear a specific original equipment manufacturer part number. That is because Japanese mechanics rely on the exact chemistry each manufacturer designed. Toyota SLLC, Honda DW1 automatic transmission fluid, Mazda FL-22 coolant, Subaru supercoolant, these are not marketing terms. They are fluids engineered to control corrosion rates, viscosity, shear resistance, and seal compatibility in each brand's engines and transmissions. Universal substitutes often change friction behavior in continuously variable transmissions and automatics. They can shrink or swell seals or accelerate galvanic corrosion. The same goes for oil filters. Japanese shops use original equipment manufacturer or original equipment manufacturer equivalent brands like Denso, Asen, or Filtech because their bypass valves, micron ratings, and flow characteristics are proven. Precision extends into assembly. Every oil change includes a new crush washer. The filter gasket is oiled and hand-tightened, never over-tightened. Drain bolts, spark plugs, and other hardware are torqued using calibrated wrenches to avoid stripping aluminum threads or crushing gaskets. Vertical filters are pre-filled when possible, and horizontal ones are not, to avoid air ingestion. After reassembly, they check fuel trims to make sure no vacuum leaks were introduced. Electrical connectors are routed perfectly. Throttle body gaskets get replaced rather than reused. Magnetic drain plugs collect early wear metals before they circulate. Dielectric grease is used on ignition components to prevent corrosion. This is not extra work. It is a system. Over hundreds of thousands of kilometers, these details are the difference between an engine that stays tight, quiet, and efficient, and one that slowly drifts out of spec. Number 4. Undercarriage and frame maintenance, like winter warriors. In Japan, especially in snowy prefectures and coastal regions, mechanics treat the underside of every car like it is under constant attack. Road salt, sea mist, volcanic dust, and urban grime do not just dirty the car, they embed into seams, suspension arms, fuel lines, and subframes. Japanese technicians know that rust begins where you do not look, which is why they wash the undercarriage far more aggressively than Western shops. After every winter storm or coastal season, they pressure wash the chassis, wheel wells, and pinch welds to prevent salt from settling into crevices where it can silently destroy metal. High-mileage Japanese taxis and delivery vehicles often show spotless engine bays, yet what really surprises foreign inspectors is how clean their undercarriages are. Mechanics regularly apply rust inhibitors and frame waxes during seasonal service, building up protective coatings year after year. In regions with heavy snowfall, some shops automatically include underbody sprays during routine maintenance. The truth is simple but brutal. Engines do not kill most cars, rust does. Brake lines burst from corrosion, subframes rot from the inside out, and mounting points eventually weaken until the car becomes structurally unsafe. Japanese mechanics treat rust prevention with the same seriousness as oil changes because a car with a healthy engine is worthless if the chassis underneath it dies first. This proactive approach is a major reason Japanese domestic vehicles last decades without catastrophic structural failure. Number 5. Belts, hoses, and rubber parts on a fixed interval. Japanese mechanics understand that rubber ages even when it looks fine. Serpentine belts, radiator hoses, vacuum lines, and timing system tensioners degrade from heat cycles, ozone exposure, and internal dryness long before cracks are visible. Instead of waiting for visual wear, they replace these components at strict, preset intervals, usually between 60,000 and 90,000 kilometers, and sometimes sooner in hot or mountainous regions. This disciplined approach prevents the most catastrophic failures. A burst upper radiator hose can dump coolant in seconds and overheat an engine beyond repair. A snapped serpentine belt can instantly disable the alternator, water pump, and power steering. A failed tensioner can ruin a timing system. Japanese shops measure belt tension with calibrated gauges, inspect idler pulleys for bearing roughness, and replace clamps, connectors, and brackets along with the hoses themselves. They do not reuse worn-out clips or hope an old clamp seals properly. They replace them because the consequences of failure are far more expensive. This habit eliminates the surprise breakdowns many Western drivers accept as normal. Because rubber parts degrade long before they look bad, Japanese mechanics treat these components like scheduled maintenance, not emergency repairs. As a result, major engine damage from overheating or belt failure is far less common in long-lived Japanese vehicles. Fuel cleanliness is one of the most overlooked elements of engine longevity, but Japanese mechanics treat it as foundational. High-mileage engines survive not because they are magical, but because they consistently receive clean, contaminant-free fuel. Shops install primary fuel filters with water separators in regions prone to humidity or diesel contamination. They routinely inspect fuel tanks for sediment and check for microbial growth, an increasing problem in modern fuels with ethanol blends and biodiesel content. For gasoline direct injection engines, known as GDI, Japanese technicians perform intake valve cleaning and injector servicing every 100,000 kilometers, even when performance seems normal. GDI injectors are incredibly precise and sensitive. Small deposits can shift spray patterns, enrich mixtures, and increase fuel dilution. By cleaning injectors before they clog, mechanics prevent lean misfires, cold start issues, and long-term cylinder wear. They also watch fuel trims closely. If long-term trims begin drifting upward or downward, they investigate immediately, often catching injector imbalance before it becomes damage. Some shops even use oil analysis to check for fuel dilution, a hidden sign of injector leakage or poor combustion. By keeping the fuel system close to factory fresh, these engines maintain strong spray patterns, stable combustion, better miles per gallon, and dramatically lower carbon buildup. It is not luck, it is disciplined fuel hygiene. This is why many Japanese engines run clean and smooth well past 300,000 kilometers, while others elsewhere struggle long before that. Airflow is the breathing of an engine, and Japanese mechanics treat it with the same seriousness an athlete gives to their lungs. Any restriction, no matter how small, affects power, efficiency, and fuel trims. That is why they clean throttle bodies, manifold absolute pressure sensors, mass airflow sensors, and intake ducts far more often than shops in the United States. Even a thin layer of carbon on the throttle plate can confuse idle control, delay throttle response, and force the engine control unit to add more fuel to compensate. In Japan, shops often include a throttle body cleaning as part of routine service, not as an upsell because they know it directly impacts drivability. AIR filters are replaced earlier than United States recommendations because Japan's dense cities and frequent short trips clog filters quickly. A dirty filter forces the engine to work harder and pushes fuel trims richer, slowly hurting miles per gallon. High-mileage gasoline, direct injection engines get special attention. Walnut blasting of intake valves is done every 80,000 to 120,000 kilometers to remove carbon that fuel cannot wash away. This prevents power loss, misfires, and rough idle that plague neglected gasoline direct injection engines. The result is that engines breathe as freely as they did when new, maintaining clean airflow, preserves compression, improves combustion temperatures, keeps catalytic converters healthier, and reduces soot. These small, routine steps are a big reason Japanese engines stay smooth and responsive long past the mileage where others feel tired. Section 8. Fastidious fluid ecosystem. Everything works together. Japanese mechanics see the car's fluids not as separate items, but as an interdependent ecosystem. When one fluid degrades, it places stress on the others. Old automatic transmission fluid runs hotter, which can raise temperatures in the transfer case and thin its oil. Acidic coolant accelerates electrolysis, eating away at water pump seals and thermostat housings. A neglected power steering fluid can clog internal screens and prematurely wear pumps. Moisture-heavy brake fluid corrodes anti-lock braking system valves from within. Instead of treating each fluid in isolation, Japanese shops often flush multiple systems at the same time because they understand the cause and effect chain inside the vehicle. Using factory-approved fluids is non-negotiable. Each fluid is engineered for a very specific friction profile, pH balance, and temperature tolerance. Mixing or substituting can destabilize the system. This integrated mindset prevents the silent cascade failures Western drivers frequently face. A bad coolant can ruin the pump, which overheats the engine, which contaminates the oil, which destroys the bearings. By maintaining every fluid at the correct chemistry and service interval, Japanese mechanics avoid expensive chain reactions and extend vehicle lifespan dramatically. What many Western drivers treat as optional, like alignment checks, Japanese mechanics look at as core maintenance. Alignment is inspected frequently, sometimes every 10,000 to 15,000 kilometers, because even minor misalignment creates drag, uneven tire wear, and excess strain on steering components. Proper alignment does not just keep the car tracking straight, it reduces fuel consumption and long-term stress on wheel bearings, tie rods, and suspension bushings. Japanese technicians also pay close attention to CV boots, hub grease, differential backlash, and drive shaft angles. A small crack in a CV boot may go unnoticed elsewhere, but in Japan it is addressed immediately because one torn boot can destroy a CV joint in weeks. Taxis and commercial vehicles in Japan famously torque suspension bolts on a schedule, ensuring nothing loosens over time. This proactive approach keeps the drivetrain operating efficiently and vibration-free. Small imbalances that Western drivers ignore for months are corrected early, preventing the staggered wear that shortens the life of suspensions, bearings, and tires. Smoothness is not just a comfort, it is preservation. Number 10. Clean electrical grounds and sensor accuracy. One of Japan's most overlooked maintenance secrets is their obsession with clean electrical grounds. Modern engines depend heavily on accurate sensor data, and even a slight increase in resistance at a ground point can cause incorrect readings from oxygen, MAF, MAP, or throttle sensors. Poor grounding also affects ignition timing, charging voltage, idle stability, and fuel trims. Japanese technicians regularly remove ground connections, clean off oxidation, retorque them properly, and apply dielectric grease to prevent future corrosion. It is a cheap, simple task, but it prevents dozens of symptoms Western drivers misdiagnose as failing sensors or injectors. On older vehicles, especially hybrids and direct injection engines, restoring strong grounds often transforms the way the engine runs. Rough idle smooths out, fuel trims return to normal, cold starts stabilize. Even automatic transmissions shift better when sensor inputs are not corrupted by voltage instability. Electrical hygiene is one of the high-impact, lowest-cost habits Japanese mechanics rely on. It keeps the entire engine management system honest and helps engines feel factory new even at high mileage. If these Japanese secrets opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe. I have even deeper, rare maintenance strategies coming that most shops never talk about. Drop a comment below with your car's make, model, and mileage. I will reply with which Japanese habit will extend your engine's life the most. Your car can last 300,000 or 600,000 or more once you know how to treat it.